I saw Steven Spielberg's Disclosure Day over the weekend, and I wanted to give my thoughts on it as a Christian filmmaker. So, Steven, he made a comment, something to the effect of this movie may cause Christians or people of faith to sort of question their beliefs in a way. And it's funny because when I saw the movie, I didn't necessarily take it that way. I thought it was fairly earnest in trying to answer that question of if we're not the only intelligent being, if we're not the most supreme being in the universe, what do we do that? Would we consider those beings as quote unquote gods? But I think overall there was an earnest attempt to try to answer that question in a way that provoked empathy for everybody watching. I do think that would happen though, and I speak to this as somebody who really tries hard at making films that have that kind of earnest nature to them, but also are captivating by the mysterious and thrilling nature of them. I think what happened is that there were key moments where audiences weren't able to quite suspend their disbelief, and I think that those key moments where it does feel like, hey, like this is an earnest moment. As a consequence of that, it can feel like it was jeopardizing the storytelling. So I think there's two key moments of that. I think one of the moments is when Emily Blunt and Josh O'Connor are in that facility with the villain. Colin Firth is his character, and the way that Emily and Josh O'Connor get out is that Emily basically shapeshifts into the faces of the loved ones of the guards there and everybody there, and that's able to let them escape. And then at the very end, something similar happens where Colin Firth's character is basically touched enough that he lets disclosure happen. And I think like Steven Spielberg, he's always been a guy who really provokes a magical quality in his storytelling. But I think at this particular cultural moment, with this becoming more and more of a real thing in the cultural zeitgeist, people really, I think, value the kind of legitimacy of those sorts of situations, and we want to make sure that there's logic behind it. And especially because this is a movie that he wanted to be seen as credible rather than incredible, as he says. But yeah, I would say so. Like, as for me, I think it was an earnest attempt, but then there were some I think points of logic that the audience really wanted to have, and I think that I wanted to have. But overall, I did really feel a sense of wonder, and